All right, welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us. As always, this meeting is being recorded and we will post it to our YouTube channel after this meeting so that you guys can share with whomever might not have been able to join us today. But thank you for coming and representing your company. This is exciting, the last update of the year. Uh, Bigger than we thought it was going to be, but not too massive to where we don't expect a whole lot of interruptions. We are trying to get it out pretty soon. Just FYI, as far as ETA goes, we are trying to get it out this week. We have been testing with another dealer, so we have caught several things. So hopefully this is a nice and smooth one to try to avoid interrupting your end of year chaos. So let's get into it. As always, a little bit of housekeeping at first, then we'll talk about what new features and enhancements we've got rolling out to you all for version 10050. And then we'll talk about some issues resolved, and we'll leave plenty of time for questions at the end. As always, feel free to chat into the chat room, unmute if you have questions or definitely show us your feedback and excitement in the chat room. It always keeps us excited and pumped up to keep rolling out with some really exciting stuff for you guys. Just always trying to make the user experience and the user interface better for you all. So your feedback is welcomed. So housekeeping, a few things here. As always, for my admins, a few little tasks that we want you to do every single update, but just always a good reminder. Make sure that you're going in and downloading your default grid layouts. That is from the help menu. So that's always the first thing you want to do as an admin after you've taken the update. Always also download your dashboards. I don't think we have any new dashboards in this one, but it doesn't ever hurt. Maybe you missed it on the last one and didn't get all the dashboards that we've been rolling out with. Going to continue to add to those. So just again, after an update, always go in and download your dashboards. Last admin item that we'll ask you to do is import your new day planner items. There were a couple of added new ones there, I'm pretty sure of. So make sure you go in and import those new day planner items and then assign those new day planner items to whatever profiles you want to make them active for. So a few little admin things that we want you to remember to do as we update things. A lot of new grids on this one, and we'll talk a little bit about that. Just keep in mind as we continue to update the user interface and experience, when we do roll out with new grids, you may lose some of your grid favorites, so you will have to recreate those. So maybe now's the time to go through some of those and get some screenshots and whatnot so you can keep those updated in your files to upload those when we do get a new grid inside of an area of the system. All right, let's get into it. New features. As you all know, I'm going to start with some of the user interface updates, but as you know, we are updating each individual module or window slowly but surely. We have been updating those. When we do update those, of course, they're coming with performance enhancements, and they're also coming with updated grids and all the good things that come with a new interface. But before I go into new interface, as I was prepping for this webinar, something that I feel like I forget, and more than likely if I forget, my users are forgetting as well. Quick little sidebar before we start. Just as we update these user interfaces, keep in mind that you can minimize your toolbars. If you want some more screen space in some of these updated windows, I find that that can be very, very helpful. So what you're seeing here flashing in the top left corner on top of those modules, that hamburger menu in the top left corner, that is called a hamburger menu if you didn't know, but that will minimize that whole toolbar, and I'll show you what that looks like here in just a second. But also highlighted in the top right corner, I like to nickname that top toolbar like my actions toolbar. So in the top right corner of that actions toolbar, there's a little arrow up that also will minimize your toolbar. So again, just a little quick sidebar here as we go into the user interface updates. See how that top toolbar minimizes quite heavily and the left toolbar. I think it's just a cleaner look, and more screen space, of course, especially with these newer windows. I'm finding it's really helpful. So for my users who have been on the software for a bit, I think that that's a really helpful tip to get started with today. But the newer users with training and whatnot, I'll recommend that you guys expose those toolbars because you got to get used to what's in those little toolbars before you start getting familiar with what you're going to be using and not using. All right. Sorry about the sidebar, but I think it's important. Tips and tricks along the way. As far as the interface for the create purchase order module, this has been fully updated. Again, performance enhancement, so it should be a lot faster. Any bug fixes, bugs that you guys have been reporting, we're logging those, prioritizing them. And when we update the interfaces and the performance and whatnot, we're attacking those bugs as well. So if you were experiencing any issues that you've reported in the past, more than likely those have been resolved. If not, please re-report them. If there's something that might have fallen lower on the priority and you feel like it's important, make sure you're bringing those to our attention. But getting started here with the first updated user interface and this next update, create purchase orders. I think the biggest change here is definitely the where the information and the drop downs are. Everything is pretty much on that left panel now. I feel like it flows more in order of how you actually use it. So for any of my purchase order creators, you start at the top like a book, you select your order, you fill out the rest of the drop downs. But again, a lot of different bug fixes in there as well. So if you were experiencing anything, the builders and whatnot, those should all be fixed. So definitely report anything that you do find. Another added big bonus with this user interface update is you can now create purchase orders by line items. You can drill down all the way down to the line item. Prior to this, you could update, you could create purchase orders based on options or phases, but I think we were missing that functionality of creating by individual line items. So pretty powerful when that does come in handy here and there. Another improvement is every time that we update these interfaces, more than likely you're going to find these search bars. So I'm going to talk about those in a couple different windows here. But the search bar has been added. Again, if you're trying to process one individual line item, start typing that part number and it could just come right up. You uncheck the top option level and just check the part that you want to process. Anything that hasn't been processed yet will remain unprocessed for the next time that you go to create a purchase order for that order. So pretty neat stuff, all enhancing the experience as well. All the other things that you're familiar with, how you can generate POs, adding initials, things like that. It's still in this window. It's just up top. You should already have that set, to be default in any way. So that middle section here, you shouldn't really be doing much with on that middle top section. But now you have the ability to really drill down to process by what you need to process. Last thing in this create purchase order module, again, throughout these different updates that we're doing, we're adding what are called tooltips throughout the system and help guide links. So if you see those little green question marks throughout the system being added here, I didn't highlight this one here, but I'm going to talk about it in several different screenshots here. But that little green question mark, that's going to take you straight to a help guide article that should help you get through this part of the system. As you all know, most of you should know, you've heard me say this a million times, I'm sure. Help guide, it's fully documented on all the different parts of the system. So use that to support any type of learning curves or new hires, employee training and things like that. But the other thing that I want to point out throughout this presentation is the fact that we are adding tooltips, meaning when you hover over something, it gives you a little bit of a information on that button. If you find that your users or you as an admin or a champion of e-manage would like these added in other places of the system that you see your users struggling with, let us know. We will add those in. Okay. So helpful user interface updates. No questions so far. I'm going to keep on rolling. Going to take some getting used to some of these, interface changes. I know it's not super easy, but it's all for the better. And we're just, making the system look very uniform throughout the entire workflow. Also updated user interface is the customer invoice module. Again, enhanced performance should be a lot faster. This means you have the newer grids. Same thing for the purchase orders, but when we do update these interfaces, the newer grids, if you haven't experienced those, I would imagine that most of you had, maybe in the actions to perform grid is one that most of us are using on the regular. It's got a much easier way to modify and save those grid layouts for slicing and dicing the data just a little bit differently in different scenarios. It also has the big benefit of these new grid layouts is definitely the conditional formatting, the ability to create rules to change certain text fields, columns to different colors, bold them, highlight them, creating unique rules to highlight certain data in that grid to make it stand out. That's conditional formatting. And if you have not experienced that, especially as my admins or champions of the system, I'm definitely going to encourage you to go poke into some of those help guide articles and get familiar with conditional formatting, because this is the way of the future of e-manage. It's gonna be throughout the system. But the other big changes to this window, I think, are just the layout. The middle section of the invoice window was where we typically saw our summaries. Now you're just going to see your summaries on the right side. You'll see that bill to drop down there as well. Most of you are probably just, if you have to change it, you're changing it in the actual invoice window, but just a couple of little changes there. The other changes are definitely the buttons have moved, of course. So your deposit button, because you add deposits typically to orders, is attached to the order grid up top, while your invoice button is attached to the invoices down bottom. It'll show you exactly what you're highlighted on here in this window here. So some different little tiny, I would say tiny but mighty, just items that I think make our lives easier and just clear as far as what the data is that we're looking at. So the buttons have moved. Additionally, the search toolbars there. So if you have a lot of different orders and you're trying to find a specific one or specific invoice, use those search bars to narrow down your results there. One more point out, I don't have this highlighted here, but I believe you should be able to see my mouse here moving. But there's that help guide article linked right there in the top right corner. Okay, so that little green question mark is going to be throughout the system. No questions or comments yet. I'm going to keep it rolling. Another, this one just came in, so I don't have a whole lot of details on this, but an updated user interface in the collections report as well. I think the major changes that I can see, and Ravi, feel free to chat these in if I miss something. But the major changes that I see are definitely the way that you can expand out and see these different notes or phone messages on these different invoices. You know, if someone is in office actually, you know, going through the process of collecting, being able to do, you know, one-stop shop in the collections report and add all the notes and information so that everybody can be on the same page as far as where collections go for a past due invoice. But yeah, just new interface. So let us know what you guys think about that. Next, we have some additions to exporting. Oh, thank you, Ravi. He says phone messages were a part of the old collections window too. This one's mostly UI and accuracy for service agreement invoices. Cool. They were there, but I feel like they look different. I don't know, it looks better for sure. So thank you for that update. As far as the exports go for BOM and PO items, we've actually added, and this is just in the new BOM, beta BOM. There's now a export OFDA XML button in the bill of materials. You can actually select, I think, individual line items. Correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't played with this too much, but definitely exported in XML. So this is the way of the future, you guys. XMLs, as far as vendor order processing, this is the direction that our manufacturers are taking. So we're just getting ahead of the curve, and hopefully if you know, this makes it a little bit easier to get those orders exported in the format that your manufacturers need it. We've actually added it to the purchase order module as well, which I think is a game changer. This could change up some of your flow that I know a lot of you have to deal with some of the manufacturers that require certain types of files. Rather than doing it in the BOM, could do it at the purchase order level. Uh, Again, just getting ahead of the curve as far as where the manufacturers are taking how they're processing orders. The big notice that we got was from AIS. So any of my dealers on the call, or if you're viewing this later, if you got that notification from AIS that they're only going to be accepting XML orders, no more emailed purchase orders, this is to help with that for sure. But you can do it at the BOM or the PO level. So whichever works into your flow best. The important thing is that we do have the ability to do that for that January 1st deadline for AIS. If anybody has any questions or comments about that, feel free to reach out to me directly. But again, we'll have this all documented in the help guide. Oh, I'm sorry, I misspoke. It is sold by vendor right now, but we can always enhance this if needed. Very cool. I don't know why you would need to do an individual line item, but typically we would just send the whole purchase order, or you split things up and then export it out as individual purchase order XMLs. But open to feedback for sure. All right. Oh, I'm so excited about this update. If I have any Syncly users on the call, I am so stoked about this. We are now going to be integrated with Syncly 2020 worksheet. Big missing function for quite some time. Shout out to, I think it was Total Office Concepts who got me in contact with some folks over there. Could be wrong on that, but whoever it was, thank you very much. But we did get them to add this in, and we're excited to show you. So this is only in the new beta BOM. So you need to start using that anyway. You'll get into the beta BOM and you'll get into the open edit parts area of the beta BOM. When you first get in there, there's going to be a new, I'm going to pause this for just a second because this is something that even my spec users, this is something you want to keep your ears open for. And then we're going to get right back to Syncly, the exciting part of it. But when you get into the new beta BOM, it's going to ask you if you want to default to a specific specifier tool. So either spec or Syncly. So if you're a spec user and spec only, you can choose remember my choice down at the bottom. Oh, thank you, Ravi. Never mind. I learned something new today. This is only going to pop up if you have both programs installed on your computer. So even better. Most of you should probably only have one, but I know there's a handful out there that have both. Conversation for another time, but definitely choose which one you want to use, I guess. If you want, and maybe you got spec just because of that tool that we have in eManage, and you can now just use Syncly, but you'll select Syncly, hit remember my choice, and then watch this in action. If you've seen the spec tool in action, then you are going to be very familiar with this. If you're a Syncly user, this should all be very familiar. Once we get into the catalog reader, you're just going to go in, select your BOM still, just the same way we have to add parts in the old BOM, but you'll see an add from Syncly button on your top toolbar now. It'll open up the standard catalog reader where you can go into your downloaded catalogs. This is only what I have downloaded, and you just series of clicks. So same functionality that you're familiar with directly in Syncly. Now it's just embedded into eManage. You're going to specify directly in eManage for those onesie twosie type quotes. Mark, I will address that in just one second. You will specify directly in eManage. This does give you the ability to double click and edit as well, a single line item. Maybe you just need to finalize a finish or change a finish on a single line item. This tool, as you've probably heard me with spec, is not meant for the large projects. Those still have to go through design. This is meant for quick quotes. I need to do a onesie twosie type quote. And maybe just be guided for the selection finishes and things like that. It'll always bring in the latest list price, and spec and Syncly are managing all of that data. Ravi's noting in the chat, this is pending Syncly's next software update. We're getting ahead of it. So it's already ready to go with our update, but it will be dependent on when Syncly pushes out their next update. They have, as Ravi mentioned, it should be by the end of the year, as far as we're aware. So, yep, double click a line item just to edit something, or hit the Syncly add from Syncly button to specify something directly in eManage using the Syncly catalog reader. So very exciting news for us. We want to make sure that we integrate with as many different applications that are out there in our industry. So it's been a long time coming. So once the Syncly update comes out, the worksheet update, you will have this available to you. Correct. This is same setup as spec. You have to have the program installed on that computer in order to use these tools. So we can talk about licenses offline if you need to. Cool. Hope you guys are excited as we are about that one. Next up, the commission model simulator. This was actually brought to us by a dealer through our custom development sprint program. I'm sure some of you have heard me talk about that. We're getting ready to release some more information because it's been working so well with some of the dealers we've been doing this with. But thank you to that dealer who brought this idea to us, wanted to pay for it. It got done after hours. It's a win-win for everyone. Didn't interrupt our roadmap whatsoever. But pretty neat tool, pretty cool idea. It basically lets you experiment with your commission plans without touching anything live. Instead of showing your previously scheduled commissions, the simulator takes your historical project data and it recalculates it using whatever new or modified commission rules you want to test. It just means that you can quickly see how different commission structures would have played out for individual salespeople or entire teams across real past projects. I think it's just a great way to fine tune your plans and compare outcomes side by side and make sure everything works the way you expect before you're rolling changes out into production. So I think it's a really cool idea. I myself haven't played with this too much, but it is all documented in the help guide. There's a few things from this webinar that aren't documented. I'm going to be 100% honest with you, but we'll get it in there as quickly as possible. Hopefully by the time everybody has the update rolled out. This one is documented though. Cool. Some other new miscellaneous features. We've got some dealers that have been with us for some time, and things can get a little bit chaotic when people start finding ways to do things differently, and cleaning up data in the system, specifically vendors, has never been easy for us. Now it is. So you can actually go into a vendor record, select purchase orders on that vendor purchase orders on that left module side right there. And you can run a date range. If you just choose all, it'll pull all purchase orders. That might take some time to load depending on what you've got in there. But once you have it loaded, you can highlight all of these, as many as you want, and you can move them to another vendor. This will allow you then to delete the vendor from your system so that people don't continue to use the wrong vendor record. We will have some updating best practices documented as well with this feature, just so that you're not doing too much work. But if you want to delete vendors and truly get them out of your system, you'll have to move them and modify. It won't, when you try to delete a vendor, it tells you what you have to clean up. And this is one of the big ones. And now we've made it easy for you to do that. Codes will also have to be reassigned to the new vendor, if you will, but definitely this makes it a lot easier to do some cleanup. All right. Sorry, I was reading some of the chats there. All right, so other miscellaneous new features for my Space Saver dealers. There is a new forecast report tucked into the analysis under projects, Space Saver forecast. Space Saver has some specific fields for their forecasting that we've got that added in. So new Space Saver forecast report. And there was a little bit of a issue reported with some importing of Space Saver XML specifically in the new BOM. So those have been addressed as well. Another miscellaneous new feature we've added in, if you haven't, this is going to be my little drop here. If you haven't explored the automation section of the admin application, I would definitely encourage you to go check that out. I think some of these new features that we add in sometimes get just lost in all the chaos that we're all dealing with on the day to day, and we forget we are enhancing some of these things where you can automate several different areas of the system. Definitely take a peek at that. But this is a part of that automations. If you haven't explored assigning a team to a salesperson, you can assign those in the admin application. You do also have to have a right to be able to use this new button. So a couple different things. There's admin setup, but then there's also a user right that needs to be granted to you. You can see that in my screenshot here. It's can add or remove team members from projects. If all of that's set up correctly, when you go to create a new project, you can quickly just hit this assign sales team button, and it'll just assign all the team members that are a part of your team. So pretty cool feature. Rather than going into team members and saying, check, 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 these are the people that are a part of my team. For those of you who work that way, not everybody works that way, but a cool automated feature to just be able to quickly assign those different team members to your projects. Letting everybody kind of, ooh. Ah, thank you, Robbie. So when first creating a new project, it will automatically add them. So no need to click the button. That's only if you need to update an existing project or something's changed or added. You can always click it. It doesn't hurt anything. It'll just update to whatever your admin has put in the automations area of the system. I don't think I've ever learned so much during a webinar. Thank you, Ravi. Everyone's probably giggling at me. Okay, additional enhancements. That was it for new features. Not a ton, but there's definitely some life improvements, I think, in some of those different enhancements there. I'm sorry, features added. As far as enhancements go, oh, I'm so excited about this one. For all my data grid nerds out there or someone who's just like excited about, reporting and things like that. This is going to be really cool. This new filter selection has only been added to those 3 reports that you're seeing on my screen here. So projects, orders, bookings, and a little bit of a nugget here. I don't think I have a full slide for it, but there is now a new punch list analysis. So I'm actually using that one in my example. So underneath the analysis projects, there's going to be a new punch list report. So you can go in and report historically on your punch list. Before, we only had the dashboard, which is great, visual metrics, but to be able to go in and actually like slice and dice your punch list, this is going to be really helpful. See some hearts coming up. Love it. Look at this. In the new analysis windows that we're updating slowly but surely, punch list is a brand new one. So of course we're going to do it in that one. But dev team went ahead and did it in the projects and orders bookings as well. Thank you, Ravi. Those are 2 reports that we rely very heavily on, and we know you're using them as well. So this feature is available in those 3 reports. You'll see the filter columns button in the top right corner. All the same, like it looks different, but same different like filter criteria that you can pick and choose here on dates and whatnot. But in that top right corner, filter columns, it opens up this new filter query columns where you can pick and choose what columns you actually want to show on your grid, rather than going into a field chooser and removing what you don't want and adding what you do. You can just remove them here. So when I go through and I start unselecting different criteria that I don't want, or if you uncheck the top row, it'll uncheck everything. If I uncheck this top row, I believe it'll uncheck everything. But if you go through and you pick and choose what you don't want, what you'll notice over here on the right side is how it's actually producing the SQL query for you with these specific filters or fields that you selected. This is not only going to obviously save you time on getting the grid the way that you want it, but also speed enhancements tremendously, especially with projects and orders bookings. When you don't need all of those data fields or columns, you can start customizing your queries. This is also, I think, very helpful for day planners. It's also going to speed your day planner items up when loading. If you have some custom day planners right now, built from projects or orders bookings, I would suggest recreating them, to be honest, because you might be pulling all of the fields and then you customize your grid, but still it definitely slows it down. So definitely check that out. I'm super excited about this. It's going to be in every single analysis at some point, but here's where we started. So start getting used to it, play with it. Let us know any feedback or issues that you're experiencing so we can attack them before we move on to the next ones. Cool. Big change here. When you go to tools, configure user settings, we redid that window. One, it's a lot faster. A lot of that slowdown was because of there were several different what we would call global settings inside of your user settings. And I can't even remember them off the top of my head. Ravi, you're gonna have to help me out with those. I should have taken a couple of notes. My apologies, but there were some global settings in there. Discounting and stuff like that. But anything that you don't see in there now, if it more than likely it was a global setting. It's been moved to the admin app. Okay. So if there's something you're looking for, one, check the documentation and the help guide first. But two, this is definitely gonna put some safety nets around some of these areas we don't need everybody touching. One of the other items that was more of a global setting was configuring your install calendars and your service calendars, the color coding that you can do. It's been removed completely from your user settings. And so new user interface, faster, all of that in the user settings. And we've even added some other items that were in different menus, like your startup windows. That's been added into this one. So explore that, check it out. It'll be documented in the help guide. But big thing about what's been removed is just, check the documentation. It might be moved to the admin for that safety net there, but also the calendar configuration, the legend. It's been, we used to have install calendar and service calendar separated. Those have been combined. And obviously the whole user interface has been updated. It works a lot better. You can actually like pick a color without typing the color in, if anybody remembers any of that. A lot of times we set this up at the beginning for you all during implementation and then you never touch it again. But this is kind of your little nugget if you don't know that you can actually customize your color coding in your install or service calendars. Maybe it's time to check that out and revisit it. Nothing too crazy here, just some interface updates and moving things around, keep kill combine type situation. Not a whole lot of questions coming in, so I'm going to keep moving, but we will leave time for questions at the end. Hayworth new partner request for my Hayworth dealers. I'll speed through this one pretty quickly. We've talked about it in the Hayworth meetings, but we are going to be removing the old way of doing things. We did enhance it slightly, so the location type has been added to carry through to that new URL. All right, beta BOM additions and changes. There were a lot of reports on the new beta BOM. So first of all, thank you all very much for using it, reporting it to us. We can't, move into this one until we've got everything resolved. So need you to use it so that you can report these things. But one thing that was missing in the new beta BOM was the one-time settings, so that's been added in. We've also allowed stacked discounting, the backslashes. So if you put in 60.25, it'll automatically calculate to 69.6 off. So that's been added to the new BOM. And then there was a issue, I think, with the CIF export. So I think that's been updated. And yeah, there any issues that might have been reported in that export of the CIF or XML have been handled as well. So When we get to the end and we talk about bugs resolved, wow, there was a lot of beta BOM bugs resolved. So we'll get to that as well. Keep using it, keep testing it, and let us know what you guys are experiencing. I know I sound like a broken record, but it's important. All right, several miscellaneous error reports enhanced. I don't have a lot of screenshots of this one, but hopefully you're just going to start experiencing it. Common issues with printing a quote and you have a custom. The errors you guys are experiencing, if you report them to us consistently and they don't make sense, we're trying to modify those so that they're more user friendly and they guide you so you don't have to reach out to us. You try to go print something that you don't have on your computer. It says, hey, try downloading custom reports and base reports and printing again. So hopefully that will help you get to what you need to get to faster without coming and reporting an issue. So just better handling different Telerik report errors and actually putting some things in place to prevent common errors when printing a quote. So just some different enhancements there. Also, I skipped right over this one. For those of you who struggle with some of the email address formatting that it doesn't like, it allows apostrophes now. I don't know if there were any other special characters that it allows, but definitely trying to improve that side of the system. Again, additional miscellaneous enhancements. The customer is interested in the lead record wasn't carrying over to the scope of work, so that's been handled and so that you don't have to retype anything. At least it carries over, and then you can edit from there. We've added a new field in the HR employee manager grid. Again, another little nugget. If you're not using like the job costing part of the system, where it automatically tells you how much employee cost is on each project. It's just internal insights. It doesn't actually apply any employee cost automatically. But the only way that this works is if you have your employee tied to your user. So in the grid, we added the user column. You might need to update your grid layout if you have a saved grid layout and add that in, but definitely helps with a quick glance to make sure everybody's connected properly and set up properly in your employee HR manager. We've also done some performance enhancements in the history document. So hopefully some of you reported some slowdowns and whatnot there. We're always trying to find ways to enhance speed in every area. I was reading the comments. I'll come back to that if Robbie doesn't answer it. We're wrapping up. All right, issues resolved. Massive list. Please check out the full release notes if you want to check out the help guide articles linked to these different bullet points and whatnot. I'm going to go through them pretty quickly just so we're all on the same page and I highlight some of the major ones. As far as bill of materials goes, I'm not going to go through every single one of these, but you can see that there were several errors reported in the new beta BOM. That's why it's a beta. And lots of improvements there. Project inside of a project, it wasn't allowing the decimal places. That was I think Freeform who reported that. Thank you. That was Chad. But yeah, you can certainly type in decimal places now, both in the approximate value and approximate profit. Duplicating projects wasn't carrying through the designer field when you duplicate a project, so that's been fixed. Vendor projections report was including not current options in the quote. That's been addressed. Several different accounting bugs, some QuickBooks stuff, but a couple different Canadian tax things with the Hayworth Web Service vendor invoices and automatically applying your Canadian tax template on vendor invoices if it was configured on the remit to company record. So just automating that for our Canadian dealers. You can read through some of those. Inventory, there was an issue with vendor bills and inventory. That's been addressed as well. As far as administrator goes, there was some issues with saving certain data in there. That's all been resolved. And a couple miscellaneous ones with contacts, the email being required and the mail mailing list setting, auto defaulting. That's all been handled. And then just a little issue with zip codes when opening up projects or companies after you deleted a zip code. So several different issues. We're still resolving bugs as they get reported in and as we prioritize them. But like I said, when we update the user interfaces and whatnot, we're addressing the bugs specifically in those modules as we update those. So keep them coming, keep reporting them, and we'll keep attacking as quickly as we can. That's all I have for you guys today. So can open up for some questions. If I need to re-review, we have a little bit of time left. If there's anything that anybody wants to see in more detail. I see Ravi's attacking some of the specific BOM questions. Yeah, Jacob, we're planning to roll out this update really quickly. We're going to start rolling out to the first group tonight. Like I said, we've already had people. We had a dealer testing this rollout. Very little came from that testing phase, but it's going to start rolling out tonight. We are going to be rolling this one out in a little bit slightly larger chunks to be fully transparent with you all. We're trying to get this one out quickly because we want to attack any issues as quickly as possible before the end of the year to avoid, like I said at the beginning, the end of year chaos. We don't want to disturb anything as you guys wrap up your year. This will be the final update. It's going to roll out fast, but that also means fixes will roll out fast if there are any. What we will more than likely do on this one, just so, again, so everybody's on the same page, full transparency, we will be pushing out updates rather than having you all retake. We will be pushing them out. So this version will start with 10050, but it might move into 10051, 52, 53, depending on how many issues are reported. I've been in this version for about 3 weeks now, so been working really well for me. Sherry, I'll poke into that and I'm happy to give you some feedback from my end. That's a good, thank you for bringing it up. If you all didn't come to the One Community webinar, please check that out. It's posted on our YouTube channel. One Community is the spot to go in and post things that you want to hear from other dealers about, challenges, pain points, not how do I do things or reporting issues. It's truly to get share knowledge and best practices from other dealers' experiences. I'll always have some feedback and be chiming in, but it's important that we're all posting and replying. So if anybody has any feedback to Sherry's comment, get into that One Community and take a peek. But I'll check it out, Sherry, as well. Yep, you'll get a pop-up notification when the update is available to your company. It'll just pop up and say you have a new e-manageONE update. You'll just want to be sure to take that update right away. There are things that could cause problems if you ignore it. And so we want to make sure you're taking the update as soon as you get it. Amanda, no update on FieldWire. Oh, thank you, Eden. Looks like Ravi's attacking the chat room per usual. Thank you, Ravi. I think that it's slowing down a little bit, so I don't see anything that wasn't addressed. If we missed anything, please don't hesitate to reach out to us via the service desk if it is an issue. If you're just wanting to chat about processes or things like that, you can feel free to reach out to me. But suggestions, enhancements, all feedback and whatnot should go through the service desk. So please use that to your advantage. All right. I think that's all we have for you guys today. We'll get this rolled out tonight to our first group. Quick little update, Mark, to inventory that is in the works of being. We're actually revamping that entire module. But bugs, we've addressed. I believe we've addressed any bugs specifically in there. You can place stock purchase orders. There was an issue reported with applying a vendor bill to a stock purchase order, but that one's addressed in this update. So if there are any other inventory issues that are holding you up from using it completely, definitely let us know. But shouldn't be any issues with placing stock orders, Mark. But we are updating it because to fix it and enhance it, we have to get it updated to our latest way of how we develop and all the new tools that we have available to us. It makes it a lot easier to make changes and enhancements to it when it is on the latest version. So that's kind of the holdup of anything moving really forward with inventory. But yeah, hopefully that gives you some insight. Cool. All right, looking forward to y'all's feedback on this update. Hopefully we're not going to interrupt too much of your end of year, but hopefully everyone's set up for some fun holiday festivities, and we're really thankful for all of you, and thanks for joining us today, and hope you have a great rest of your year, great rest of your week. But we'll be in touch. Have a great one. Thanks, guys.